Baker, and I'm also pleased to announce tonight, see some other new faces in the chamber and introduce you to everybody around the table. So we have our CAO, Dana Spurl. Good to see you, Madam CAO. And two fine folks from your office. We have, of course, Stacey Pratt and Arlene Mullins. Welcome to you both to our meeting tonight. And I see over here on the other side, we have two of our directors are here, Director Antle and Director Collins. Good to see you both again. And our manager of HR, Janice Mullins, is here stepping in today for our Director of Corporate Services, Marketing and Economic Development. So welcome, Janice. Good to see you, Ms. Mullins. And I'm going to stop right there. I think we're getting a little bit of feedback. Janice Mullins is here stepping in today for our Director of Corporate Services, Marketing and Economic Development. So welcome, Janice. Good to see you, Ms. Mullins. And I'm going to stop right there. So when it's streamed on YouTube, I think there is somewhat of a delay as it buffers. So I think what we're hearing is it's being recorded, and perhaps we're hearing some of the feedback that's going out subsequent. So if you hear me say something twice, any bill we approved here today is not approved twice. It is not double the money or double the permits. And you know, there are a few people in the room, but it was only 3 new members of council we welcome, not 6. If you hear me say something twice, all good? All right, there we go. All right. Well, let's get started, council, and welcome again, everybody. The agenda is before you folks, and I'm looking for now, if I could, can I have a motion to adopt today's agenda? Moved by the Deputy Mayor and seconded by Councillor Antle. All in favor? And those opposed? And that motion's carried. Now, I have to get out of my email and back over here. So items 1 to 7 have been approved. You see before you, council, the minutes and action report from September 21st. Can I have a moment, take a moment, please, to review and advise of any errors or omissions? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a motion, please, to adopt the minutes from September 21st, moved by Councillor Fry and seconded by Councillor Locke. All in favor? Aye. Contrary-minded? Carried. Thank you. Any business arising, council? Please quote the item number from the minutes or from the action report. Moving right along, hey? You see next count. Oh, wait, no, did I call for? No, we did the motion to accept. Did I call it? Yes, I did. Thank you. We see correspondence there, which I'm going to refer now to committee of the whole. We see effective September 23rd, 2021, a call for nominations for the Municipal Assessment Agency. These nominations are for election to that particular board, a board that serves us well in establishing what the assessments are for properties here in the city of Mount Pearl. Our municipality is entitled to nominate and vote for the position of Urban Director or Avalon Director. If anybody's interested in running for those positions, we can have a further chat in committee of the whole, and as well, then please put your name forward. So that's just a heads up. I'm not going to read the whole thing there, but there is a nomination form if you're so inclined. All right, the next item up for discussion is committee reports, and the first committee is Infrastructure Public Works. Councillor Fry, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. First on our agenda item this evening is the gas tax 2019-2024 funding project update. So just to give you a little bit of background, the federal gas tax funding is an upfront, predictable long-term funding to help address local infrastructure priorities. It provides flexibility to pool, bank, and borrow against funding, and is administered through a bilateral agreement with the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. So a review of the gas tax funding remaining has been completed, and it's been determined that there is funding remaining in the 2014 to 2019 gas tax funding program. So the committee therefore recommends that the funding amount of $263,576.72 remaining from the 2014 to 2019 gas tax funding program to be transferred to the 2019 to 2024 gas tax funding program, and the associated projects therefore be closed. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Fry, seconded by Councillor Rice. The way this reads, I need to ask the director a question or the CAO. we're not leaving the money on the table. We're moving projects back, aren't we? Or are we? Director Randall?
Your worship, this is to administratively take any balance of funding from our gas tax program from 2014 to 15 and use that in the 2019 to 2024 program funding. It's no lapse of funding. It's funding that we actually did not utilize in that program year. The projects that were identified are completed. This takes that balance and moves it forward to the program funding that we have available now. This is in addition to.
Yep, okay, it sounds reasonable. Usually the projects go back into the funding pot as opposed to funding pot being carried forward. So that's something I've learned here today. Councillor Locke, please.
Your worship, just a question for Director Rental. So does that mean that our projects for 2014, 2019 came in under budget, and that was the reason for this surplus that we're able to move forward?
Deputy Mayor, it's a combination of things. It was projects being completed under budget,
okay,
or projects being completed less than the budget that was identified. So it's two different ways. The contracts themselves came in under, or the actual projects were identified less than the funding that we had identified through council that was approved.
Either way, as the mayor said, it's not left on the table. We can utilize this in our new gas tax.
Completely correct.
Yes. Thank you.
Any further discussion? I'll ask Councillor Fry if she'd like to sum it up.
Well, I think this is more so of an administrative process for the odd bits left over.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I'll call the question. All in favor of Councillor Fry and seconded by Councillor Rice, of course. All in favor of their motion?
Aye.
And those opposed? And that motion is carried. Thank you.
Okay, next we have a recommended purchase for a second utility terrain vehicle. The city has one utility terrain vehicle. We call it a UTV, and that's used for trail grooming. So the city's UTV is approximately 2 years old. However, it is sometimes out of service for mechanical issues, during which time grooming can't be carried out on trails. And as you may recall, that was very, very popular last year. I think our residents were very pleased to have the trails groomed. So the purchase of a second similar unit is suggested to use primarily for trail grooming, with the existing UTV to be used for other functions such as backup for trail grooming if needed. The UTV pulls the groomer, and if the intent is to have 2 units with the ability to groom, the city will require the purchase of an additional groomer along with the purchase of the UTV. So this particular vehicle has been very useful in many ways. You know, it's quite a great vehicle to have for trails and for picking up garbage and trail grooming, and so many uses for it. And of course, it's economical. So the department therefore recommends the purchase of the UTV from the supplier with the lowest quote, which is NL Kubota Limited, at a price of $38,642.43, including HST. The cost for this equipment would be accommodated with the 2021 fleet budget. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Fry, seconded by Councillor Lane. Sorry, that would be Councillor Rice. My apologies. Councillor Antle, please.
Your worship, just a couple of questions there, Councillor Fry. 2 things. Would this new groomer, will this be able to go across the bridge? Because last year we had some issues with the trails. And 2, it's in budget, but how about staff? How do we staff this? So we have 2 groomers. Do we have extra staff on board for this, or how is that going to work? And do we get more trails covered? I guess 3 questions.
Let's do the bridge first.
Those are good questions, and I'm going to refer this to the director.
Thank you, Councillor Fry. And I must apologize. I referred to incorrectly. Deputy Mayor Locke, my apologies. Councillor Locke, sorry. The UTV that we propose here, our bridges on the pedestrian trails are not wide enough to enable this to cross. So we need to improve those to actually make an access. So in places we'd have to actually maneuver the vehicle to get around there if we needed to do that. We don't have additional staff identified, so there will be a current staff that will be utilized to use this vehicle as we deem it fit to get to a second groomer if we put a second groomer on the trails. So the proposal now is to use this groomer as a backup to the current groomer. So the current groomer, when it goes down, we have no trail grooming. So this allows us to actually continue with grooming. If council sees fit during budget discussions, I'll certainly be bring forward discussions about how we staff for a potential second groomer operation. So is there a third question? I'm sorry.
There was Councillor Antle. You said there was three.
The increase in trails.
Oh, yes, are we going to increase the trail?
We would increase the trail grooming if council so chooses to actually fund additional to continue with a second operator, or at times, as we've operated the first groomer, if we've got additional staff available to us during the winter season that are not otherwise being utilized, we could potentially get the second groomer in operation with no additional staff requirements.
And I think it's fair to establish the context here. We don't have trails as the number one priority following a snowstorm.
Mm.
So quite often as we, get further distance from, say, a snow event and we get the pushback done and the sidewalks finished, then you will migrate to the trails. And at that point in time, typically, unless we get hit by another storm, that's when you're going to see the capacity. So I wouldn't see explicitly a need to hire another operator, but implicitly I hear the argument.
You're absolutely right, Your Worship. So it depends on circumstances of how the winter season unfolds. But you're right. That's our first priority is snow clearing. Our second priority then is trail grooming.
Any other questions? And Councillor Fry, I think this is a great vehicle to have in summer as well, right? For, picking up garbage and handling the litter here in the city. And
Yeah.
one thing I can say from my experience on council is that the heavy trucks on a wet day going down the trails tend to chew up all the grass and create ditches. So these vehicles, although you see the one here that has a picture that shows the tracks are easily, well, I'll say easily, easy for me to say, they can be removed and wheels put on. So these are great utility vehicles to have throughout the city. Any other further comments? Deputy Mayor Kiley.
Just a question on, in relation to last year, is there any areas in which we are going to be able to access with regards to the trails, specifically around, I understand it may not see an increase, but are we thinking about diversifying any of the areas or trails that hadn't been utilized last year?
Good question.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Conlon. We are looking at expanding it. Right now, the city's website, through our policy, our trail grooming is focused on the trailway and around Powers Pond. And that's where we can get full access with the UTV. As the winter unfolds, last winter enabled us to trail groom further, and we expanded it, and to much fanfare, people appreciated that, as long as we had the resources available to expand. So in some cases, we can move the vehicle, to Councillor Antle's question, around the bridges that restrict us now. Sometimes we travel in the nighttime. We travel on the shoulder of the road to be able to maneuver it. Not preferable. So if we can do it more so in 2022, we'll certainly be considering expansion.
Thank you, Director Endel.
Councillor Locke.
Yeah, just further to Director Angel's point, I think to the Deputy Mayor's question, I think we focused around Powers Pond and the T Railway because that allowed us to take the utility vehicle right from the depot to that without having to trailer it and transport it.
Okay.
But then we realized, to Councillor Angel's point, that some of the bridges were too narrow, so we couldn't access. So last year we did talk about around the infrastructure public works table about getting a vehicle and then perhaps a second groomer that we may be able to then cover other areas of the city that aren't currently covered. But that would be budget because we got a budget for a new groomer.
Right.
And then also the human resource would be another budget consideration. So we have considered it.
I think
Thanks
it's
for
fair
that
to say that,
context.
oh, sorry.
No, just
No.
thanks for that context. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the gap is really everything north of Topsail Road, as well as everything along Old
Okay.
Placentia Road. And part of it's the bridge and part of it's geography. But the other context too is the municipal depot is really behind Powers Pond.
Absolutely.
And that's the launching point. And I know Director Anto we talked a lot last year about how staff have figured out a way of getting that groomer all the way across, say, to Admiralty House without really crossing a road with all of the
Wow.
tunnels and the trails that are there. But the bridges do cause the complication in terms of having to go up to the bridge, turn around and go back, and it really slows down the pace of getting them done. But the more of a good thing we see in the city, the more everybody wants and values it. So I think that's where the decision originated for the second groomer. And I think we're well on our way with this piece of the jigsaw puzzle. Yeah. Further thoughts before I call the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And those
Aye.
opposed? Carried.
Okay, next on our report, we have recommended contractor change orders. Now there's 7 here, and this is for the Topsail Road storm sewer and outfall upgrading. So when the contractors are working on a project, sometimes there are change orders that are required, small change orders that just come about. They can't be anticipated. You know, you might need a few extra of one or something else, and you might come across something unexpected. So in this particular case, there are 7. The tender for the City of Mount Pearl CP-5 Topsail Road storm sewer and outfall upgrading was awarded to, the tender was awarded to Dexter Construction Limited for the bid amount of $861,754.92, HST included. So the change orders required are as follows. There's topsoil and sod replacement. The area is 200 square meters at a unit price of $18 per square meter, and that's $4,140. Additional sections from manhole 0071. So the new chamber was required to be raised 2 meters, and the cost for that is $5,326.80. The third one is the supply and installation of rigid insulation between the water main and the storm sewer main at Farrell Drive, and that's $233.45. There was extra chamber on Farrell Drive to realign the storm sewer, and this was required to reroute the storm sewer, and that was $12,907.60. Project quantities that are tracking to be over the tendered quantity, including curb, add gutter, sidewalk, and asphalt. They totaled $21,344. The removal and reinstatement of the driveway at number 907 Topsail Road, and this was as a result of construction impacts. That came in at $16,804.93. And finally, the installation of pumped concrete below the head wall to replace the granular materials. That is $2,875 for a total of $63,631.78. So the Engineering Services Department recommends that the above change order for approval, noting that the existing budget can accommodate the anticipated change orders, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Fry, seconded by Councillor Rice. Any thoughts, comments? Councillor, I think generally here, this is materials and quantities and of course, effort and energy and labor for unforeseen items that would not be found until we dug up.
Yeah.
Which also explains, we were trying to get the area paved about approximately 2 weeks ago. And I think we're in position now to do it. But the extra chamber, I think Director Antle caused quite a bit of delay here. So I guess when you get an intersection there that's full of utilities, water mains, water pipes, I guess when you see that convergence of all those utilities, it makes it almost as complicated as we saw years ago, a Councillor Locke up at the corner of Mount Carson, Topsail Road, as well as when Team Gushu was being pushed out here at the intersection of Dunn's Lane and Topsail Road. Change orders don't necessarily mean we're not getting value. It just means that the contract has to be adjusted to reflect the current quantities. Director, any comments?
You're correct, Your Worship. Most of this is to do with unforeseens during construction. We can't be able to know every single thing that we'll find underground. Important today, when we do construction, we prepare what's called as-built drawings. They're more accurate today than what they were, say, 20, 30, 40 years ago. The other thing is these civil work projects do earthworks. They're unit price contracts, and they're built for that very reason. Unit price contracts have estimated quantities in a unit price table for the very purpose that when you do underground work, you're not exactly confident as to how much quantity you'll use to, say, put in a pipe. So when the estimated quantities are there and contractors bid on those, the unit price is what's fixed. So when we extend the unit price, that's what you're seeing in many of these cases. It's the very nature of unit price work for civil works projects. So that's the second explanation for the changes.
Thank you, Councillor Locke.
Yeah, as we all know, anyone who's done home renovations, once you start, there's always unseens that pop up. So this is no different, as Director said, when we dig underground. But I'm just curious, Director, about the end date now. I'm sure our residents are wondering now when all this is going to be clued up. I know we're getting near the cooler seasons when we don't like to lay pavement or it's not conducive to lay pavement. So any idea as to when this may be concluded?
Councillor Locke, the answer that I give to many of these things at this time in the season is very much weather dependent.
Mhm.
So right now, when we come to surface course asphalt, which will be the next layer, that's very weather dependent. I expect that we'll have base course there for this winter and we'll complete that next season. So right now we're into the next few weeks to complete, and then we should be closed down there for this season.
So what is the temperature again? 10 degrees before we lay the final course of asphalt?
Base course asphalt is 7 degrees, which is base course is the layer against granulars.
Yeah.
Surface course asphalt against base course is more dependent on that on both temperature and weather. So if
Okay.
there's mist or rain, you can't attach the second layer of asphalt.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Councillor Antle, then Councillor Rice.
Just a quick question on that. So Tops Road won't be ready for another couple of days. So we're not going to touch Commonwealth Avenue, the bridges on Commonwealth Park till this is done. Is that correct?
Councillor Randall, the plan is not to be doing repairs to Commonwealth Avenue Bridge or Park Avenue Bridge this season.
Okay.
Will.
Good.
Councillor Rice.
Councillor Renton, you stole my question. But just, I guess, point of information, and I concur with your information on the tenders. Like when you award tenders, you never know any unforeseen circumstances are going to be met with, I guess. So, when you're, especially when you're, I guess, doing items and groundwork and stuff like that, you don't know what's beneath the ground until you'd usually dig it up. So I certainly support this, and because, most times you can never see. It's not like you're doing the surface materials and stuff like that. So a lot of times when you're dealing with grades and water and sewer, when you dig in and get into really the structure, you really find what's there and then you incur the extra prices. So, and I'm happy to add actually that we have the funding available there to cover that. So really pleased with that. Thank you.
Any further thoughts? All right, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? No, hearing none, the motion is carried. Councillor Fry, back to you.
Well, I'm going to pass it over now to Councillor Rice to conclude our report.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rice.
Hey, thank you, Worship. For information, I guess we're on the number one public work status updates. Bulk garbage pickups ongoing. Road maintenance, signage, garbage collection, and recycling ongoing. Preparation for winter season is ongoing. We had quite the discussion actually at their last IPW meeting. Very pleased with the progress that all the team is doing there. Also, capital projects, and we're, like I said, now we're getting into the the season now where a lot of the capital work projects are starting to, I guess, clue up because we're getting into the winter season. Upcoming projects is pedestrian underpass walkway remediation, work to start the week of October the 11th, 2021. The railing on Richard Nolan Drive and the Old Placentia Road area will be completed first. Pedestrian underpass remediation on Old Placentia Road and associated traffic control measures will be starting up after the railing is completed. And facilities maintenance status updates, routine maintenance schedule is ongoing, preparing for the winter and the fall, for the fall and winter seasons. So that's been done and completed. I so move.
No motion required, but thank you for the updates.
Can I get
Thank
a
you much.
question?
And Councillor Locke, yes.
Thank you, Mayor. A question on the bulk garbage. I think I know the answer. I just want to confirm that we will continue that until weather prevents otherwise. Is that correct, Director?
Yes, you're correct, Councillor.
Okay, so $25 pickup will continue until, and we'll obviously issue a public notice as to when we stop, I would think.
Yes.
Just an upgrade too on the railings on Richard Nolan Drive and Old Placentia Road. They're the ones that we were going to extend, yes, that we deemed that they weren't quite long enough. So we're going to put on additions to that. And that's for pedestrian safety walking on the sidewalks, so as not to, potentially slip into the tunnelway.
That's correct, Councillor, is to both meet the code,
Yep.
Which is related to safety, both for pedestrians and vehicles from not going over the side of that steep embankment on the side of the road, we'll say on Old Placentia Road.
Great.
And
Okay.
the other thing I'd point out too is the pedestrian underpass remediation, anticipating, Councillor Ant was questioning about traffic disruption. We're doing work under the road there. So it's not an actual disruption to the road traffic, but we will be diverting traffic from one side of Old Placentia Road to the other while the work is ongoing underneath the road on Old Placentia Road in order for us to repair that pedestrian underpass. So the actual traffic loads had to be moved while the concrete is being placed to do the repair. So we'll have a traffic control plan and that'll be advised to the public as well.
Any further comments related to the IPW statuses? Hearing none. We're going to move on now to the Community Development Committee report. And I believe tonight, Councillor Antle is going to take the lead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a few here tonight and we'll move forward. The first one is number 23 Truxton Place, and this is for a family child care use. The committee recommends approval of the discretionary use application by property owners of number 23 Truxton Place to operate a family child care use within a portion of their dwelling at 23 Truxton, and further recommends that the development permit be issued subject to applicable conditions. And I'll just go over those. Some background information. The city is in receipt of the application by the property owner proposing to operate a family child care use at 23 Truxton Place. This applicant proposes to utilize a portion of the dwelling to provide regulated childcare services for 2 infants at this time, with the potential of maximum of 6 children. As per the submitted application, the proposed days and hours of the operation are Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And there will be now any construction or renovations done at this property at that time. There are 3 on-site car parkings already and 1 resident employee. There will be visitors to the home twice a day, once in the morning to drop off the children and once in the evening to pick up the children. The size of the dwelling is approximately 1,937 feet, and a portion of the basement is going to be used. There was a public consultation process involved. The notice was in the Telegram on Saturday, August the 28th. There was also a notice circulated to 132 residents, businesses, and property owners around the area. A council provided the public 15 days to forward written submissions. We did receive 1, and that was in relation to the playground in the area. And I'm just going right down here. And just 1 second. And I went through, and I have no Surface iPad, so I'm doing that really, really quick at this tonight. So.
Well, you're summing it up well, sir.
I'm doing really good. And the regulations are subject to the conditions set out, and you can read it in your case. And I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by Councillor Lane. Council, I know for the new members, we're not finished. Did you want to speak, Councillor Lane? Sorry.
I just wanted to say that I think we really need to encourage childcare here in Mount Pearl. There's definite need for it. So I think we need to encourage and support both daycares and day homes opening here in Mount Pearl.
Yeah, well said. Agreed. Deputy Mayor Kiley.
Absolutely go to second Councillor Lane's sentiments there. One of the questions I do have is, in fact, to that is there any way where we can account for the areas that do have those sort of businesses and resources available, just to see in relation to neighborhoods, specifically neighborhoods who have a definitely a higher need for childcare and newer families in there? I'm just wondering how we kind of account for that as in a way so that, you know, as we want to support that, is if there's areas or gaps, or we want to encourage individuals in a particular area to meet a need, especially regulated childcares where there's definitely waiting lists of individuals looking to access that. So I'm not sure if that's.
I'm looking at Director Collins, I think, to answer your question.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We can have staff on a report when it comes to the development applications and the permits that have been granted for such uses as this, and we can bring it back through committee.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Council, especially for the new members of council, when you see the word discretionary, that's coming from our regulations, and I know orientation is still ongoing, but that normally requires a public vote of council and also requires some type of public engagement, typically within 150 meters. So I think Councillor Antle may have mentioned there was almost 150 houses, I think, were pulled in this particular case. And also you see there before you, there was a letter of representation from based on this process. There was no need to hold a briefing session, as we called it, where you'd invite people from the neighborhood out, but we did take all that into account, and that's part of your kit, and I'm sure it forms the basis for your vote here today. So that's just a very brief synopsis, but later on this evening, Director Collins is going to lead some orientation that'll talk further about, the way our regulations work. But discretionary is a thing, by the way, that always comes to this table. And if council wishes to make more things discretionary or less, that's entirely up to this council to change its regulations. Hearing no other comments, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Contraminded? And carried. Thank you. Back to you.
And number two, we have our annual safety skeleton. It starts on, doesn't start, it happens on October 31st. The annual safety skeleton will take place on Sunday, October 31st. The city's municipal enforcement officers will patrol the streets within Mount Pearl area to ensure safety is being followed while giving treats to those who be seen. Also on November the 1st, we have our annual pumpkin parade. It's planned for Monday, November the 1st from 6 to 8 o'clock, and that's usually really, really popular. Residents are invited to bring their pumpkins out to help light up night at the park. All pumpkins will be collected and composted at the event compliments of the city of Mount Pearl. I think this is a fabulous event. I mean, it's a good time to get out to do it. And I'm sure we'll see all councillors out there that night with their pumpkins and dropping them off.
And I'll ask Ms. Mullins if she could put that in our calendars to keep it in view. Thank you.
And number 4, we have a development permit list for September the 20th. And you see it in your kit from September the 20th to October the 8th. And there's only 2 there, and I so move.
It is moved by Councillor Antle and seconded by Councillor Lane. All in favor? Those
Aye.
opposed? Carried.
And we have our building and occupancy permit list from September the 20th to October the 8th for a totaling of $1,367,300 to be approved. And you can take a look in your kit there. We're starting to see some new houses being built again. They're up there on Brent. So hopefully construction season was winding down, but we're still seeing new homes being built. And that's, I so move.
Moved by Councillor Antle and again seconded by Councillor Lane. That the occupancy permits, the building construction commercial, building construction residential have been moved, and I'll call the question. All in favor? Contraminded and carried. So
That's it.
generally, for the benefit of council, staff have the authority delegated by council to approve non-discretionary or, applications that meet our building regulations. And that's what you see here. And basically, at the end of the day, council ratifies it. But we don't hold them up. So if council has the authority if staff have the authority within the regulations, from a customer service point of view, we let the permit go as opposed to waiting for a public council meeting, just in the interest of ensuring that development flows smoothly in the city, as well as permits are issued on an efficient basis. Thank you very much. And that's it for Councillor Antle and Councillor Lane. Now we're going to move on to corporate services and the Economic Development Committee. And I believe Councillor Locke has taken the lead. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. To Councillor Antle's point, it is nice to see new houses being built, and let's hope that continues into next season. Okay, Your Worship, I'll take the first item here, and then I'll turn them over to the last 2 over to Deputy Mayor Kiley for conclusion of our committee report. The first for me is the invoices for approval. And we're recommending the following invoices be approved for payment. And you can see we have 9 listed there, and they total $455,988.70. And just to highlight some of those here, the first, the Armor Lock and Safe, the City Buildings Card Access Control for $68,108.61. That's something you'll remember, Your Worship, that we approved in our 2021 budget. And it has to do with the access control throughout our city buildings. The system we have in place right now is quite antiquated. And I know I have 2 fobs, for example, to get into the city depot as opposed to getting into City Hall here. And that poses some difficulties for security and for repairs and maintenance. So this new project is to upgrade all the buildings with the one access card. So that'll improve security. And also I like the feature that we can remotely access buildings right now in terms of lock and unlock buildings. So that'll be a cost savings, I see. The second one here is our water consumption, $252,806.74. Just an indication again that I know Councillor Antle echoes this all the time, that we do pay our regional bills, and we are a regional partner here. And I'll highlight again that our water consumption since 2014 has gone down significantly. I'm very proud of the fact that we have this leak detection system here in the city. And we have almost cut our water consumption in half, but I don't want to stop there. I'm excited to see if there's other measures that we can bring in to further reduce our consumption and our costs to our residents. Our tipping fees there, 47,933.20. They're probably lower than average, probably due to the fact that people are away during the summertime and they're generating less waste. But I do want to highlight, I know we talked about it at committee, the Deputy Mayor and I, about the cost of our tipping fees. We're paying $82 a ton for garbage and $22 a ton for recycling. And our recycling, our recycling rate has dipped a little bit. So we talked at committee that we'd like to see some campaigns, public campaigns to encourage people, not only environmentally, but from an economic perspective. And we're paying $60 a ton extra for our recyclables. So I'm excited to dig in and see if we can't do something. I think ideally, Director Rental, was it 28% was the goal we were looking for? That would be the optimal 28% diversion rate. And I think we were at 13 or 14 when we first started, but we dipped a little bit. So this is the PR campaign that we're hoping to develop, just to remind folks that we're doing our part for the environment here in the city of Mount Pearl, but also it saves us some money as well. So just wanted to highlight that. And the other one I'll highlight here, Your Worship, is the number 5, the $9,890 for Fujira mentioned in architect professional services. And that has to do with the investigation of a splash pad at our new civic center here. So again, there are the 9 items that we're recommending for payment for the total amount that I mentioned, $455,988.70. And I so move.
Moved by Councillor Locke, seconded by Deputy Mayor Kiley. My random question of the day is, what is LifeWorks and what is the quarterly payment for?
Number 6,
Number 6, please.
quarterly fees.
Manager of HR Mullins, please.
Did you say LifeWorks? Just wanted to confirm. That's our EFAP program provider.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. They were Morneau Chappelle and they're changed to LifeWorks.
It's just a name change, a
Yes.
brand change?
Yes, yeah.
So is that a fixed fee or is it based on volumes?
Volume.
Volume?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Further questions, because this is subject to a motion before we vote. I'll call a question. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll turn it over to the Deputy Mayor now.
Thank you, Councillor Locke. I'm going to be presenting the payment and registry. And of course, there's no motion that's required there. However, it's important to just note some key items there. So the payment registry for the period of September 20th to September 29th, which was $1,142,719.77. And just a few items that I wanted to just to note. First and foremost, there was $436,688.63 was paid to the city of St. John's for monthly regional fire services. And of course, that's a key service. We also had $59,511.80 was paid to Lehman Signs for the continued fabrication and installation of our trails and wayfinding signage. And I just wanted to note how incredible, we've had such incredible feedback on that program. It has not only just offered a beautification to our parks and our trails, but actually essential information on how you can get and commute around the city in a way that's, that you never thought you could before. So that's fantastic. And also, I just want to note the $4,500 payment was issued to Cardinal Homes for a refund of a planning deposit. So again, there's no motion there, but there's just some key items that I wanted to present. And thank you very much.
Any questions, council, or? No, very good. We can move on. Thank you.
So I'll continue there, Your Worship. Would that be great? Okay.
Sure.
So I'll move right on to the tax deferral. And again, this doesn't require a motion. And we have one low income tax deferral for approval for today's agenda. And it's the value of $4,712.27. And of course, this is done in accordance with the city's policy for low income earners. And it's already met the acquired for the approval. What information, what I'd like to share here is I think this is an incredible program ensuring that those that require additional supports are able to live and certainly it certainly is it's contributed to our health and community in a really important way. Especially when we think of a lot of our low income earners are seniors and young families as well. So this is not, again, an emotion, but something to just put before you and to certainly ask any questions. Oh, this does,
Oh, sorry.
apologies. No,
Trying to
this
get the
does
word to you.
require a motion.
Yeah.
Sorry. And I so move.
Thank you. Moved by the deputy mayor, second by Councillor Locke. All in favor? Counterminded and carried. Thank you. But you spoke very well about how we'll always work with people, either based on their income or their circumstances when it comes to paying their taxes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Worship.
Well, I believe that's the end of our agenda for today. Well, this was a great meeting, 45 minutes in. I won't say anything to jinx it, but we always finish our meetings with a roundtable, whether it's to bring up new business for referral to committee or a discussion about some of the things that are going on in our community or anything that's on members of council's mind. And in our tradition is we start with a different member of council each particular council meeting. But tonight I'm going to start with Deputy Mayor Kiley.
Thank you so much, Your Worship. I am happy to just say hello and welcome to all of this incredible team tonight. This is my first sitting, and I have to say a lot of this work comes from much guidance and encouragement and support from my colleagues and this team here. So I just want to say thank you so much for all of the support and effort to get us here today. There's a few initiatives that I do want to talk about and highlight because it's just been an incredible couple of weeks. It's Small Business Week, and that's actually we've been lucky to be this has been lucky to organize for the last 42 years through the BDC, which is the Business Development Bank of Canada. We are a community that supports its local business, and certainly it's why we are thriving in so many ways economically. So every year, close to about 10,000 entrepreneurs gather, learn, network, and celebrate the people in building businesses across country. And I'm happy to say that our city is acknowledging and also supporting this week. So it's between October 17th and the 23rd. And in support of it, we are, many small businesses that call Mount Pearl home want to organize a number of initiatives. And we are also displaying our Consider It Done campaign in market. So some things to look for right now. First of all, our Quick Start Your Business in Mount Pearl. So on October 21st from 3 to 6 at the Mount Pearl Soccer Hut, there is a support a small business event. The city will be hosting a startup information session for any entrepreneur or aspiring business owner that are thinking about moving, growing, and investing in Mount Pearl. So this is a type of drop-in event targeted at aspiring entrepreneurs or new grads or startups or anyone who wants to maybe have a business idea. The opportunity will be to chat to our business support program partners and one-on-one. It's kind of like a meet and greet speed session. And I'd like to just also highlight the incredible partners that are going to be there. ACOA, of course, the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, BDO, as mentioned. There's also Metro Business Opportunities, Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce, Newfoundland Labrador Organization of Women Entrepreneurs, ENLO, and also the Royal Bank of Canada. So, just a quick note also, because of COVID-19 regulations, capacity is limited for the event. So registration is required, but is absolutely free to the public. So if you're interested, just actually take a look at our website and you can join from there. There's also a small business supporting small business contest. So last year, the city held a contest during the week and to help support small businesses based on success of that contest. We're going to be offering it again this year. So the concept is very simple. It's all about small business, helping small businesses. And so basically a business will be asked to answer a series of questions focused on resiliency and why they deserve a 1-hour professional consultation session with a professional service. So that can be anything from accounting to marketing or anything that, a small business owner would be thinking about or needing at that time. The winning business will be matched with one of the professional services, and their prize will be to receive a 1-hour membership with the Mount Pearl Chamber of Commerce business. I can't think of a better way to encourage mentorship and also networking and learning amongst our community. So those are two key things I did want to say. And again, it's been an incredible couple of weeks, and I look forward to many more great public events such as this. So thank you.
Welcome. Good to see you. And thank you for your kind words. Councillor Antle.
It surprised me. It's getting back nice and comfy. Thank you very much. Yes, I'd like to echo the deputy mayor's comments. I certainly welcome all our new councillors and all our councillors back to our chamber. It's a full house. It's great to see a big crowd. I have a couple of things to bring up. I'll move along as fast as possible. Last week, I had a chance to attend the Mount Pearl Paradise Skating Club's the Sport Alliance Awesomeness Award. This is only the third time it was ever passed out. I'd like to say congratulations to Kevin Walsh from the Mount Pearl Paradise Skating Club on receiving the Sport Alliance Awesomeness Award. Kevin has been with the club for almost over 40 years and has had a positive contribution to the growth and development of the skating club in this province. I'd just like to read the award that was passed out to Kevin. It was a great event. To Kevin Walsh, a coach, mentor, and friend to skating. Kevin Walsh is a household name in the Newfoundland figure skating community. His commitment and passion for figure skating in this province has been instrumental to skater development and the evolution of skating programs for the last 4 decades. Through dedicating his entire adult life to helping children both on and off the ice. He has influenced and shaped the brand of the Mount Pearl Paradise Skating Club and continues to inspire young skaters every day. Kevin, you are awesome. And that was presented by Thomas Hawkins, Shelley O'Brien, and Caroline Calloway at the rink last Thursday night. And I think maybe we should send a little note back to Kevin and say congratulations.
We shall. Very much deserved and frankly overdue, but I'm glad everybody stepped up to make Kevin's evening. He certainly made a career out of, like you said, helping the kids here in the city of Mount Pearl.
It was such a big crowd there for 40 years that he impacted so many people. I think the deputy mayor said he coached you. I think I've heard him.
Yeah.
So with so many people he has touched, he certainly is awesome. On November the 13th, Alex Taylor, a young a child here, not a child, a young adult, I guess we're going to call Alex. I think he just turned 13. He's doing a fundraiser. Alex is always doing fundraisers within the city of Mount Pearl. And he was doing this one on November 13th. And all funds, and he's organized this himself, all funds raised was going through the Mental Health Task Force. And it's going to be held down in the Lantern on Barnes Road. The tickets are $20 in advance. And you can give him a call. His mother will call at 691-4020. And he has quite a group lined up. So if anybody is available on November 13th, drop down. Sunday evening, last night, myself and Councillor Fry had a happy event or happy time to attend the Mount Pearl Minor Hockey launch of their Hockey with Heart. This is something they do every year. This is their 13th year. And with COVID, it's kind of difficult exactly how to do a food bank drive because you can't go door to door. So on November the 6th, they're doing Hockey with Heart, very similar to what we did last year. We helped with the event. They're going to do a toonie drop at all the church parking lots. We already had contacted all the churches, so it'll be a toonie drop on next Saturday or Saturday the 6th. You're going to see it advertised quite heavily in the Telegram and whatever else, whatever media circles, and through all our Facebook pages. And last year they did, I think it was $38,000, if I remember correctly, within that ballpark. And they'll still talk about it a little bit more and more and more. So it's a great event. And that's everything for me, nice and quick.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Rice, please.
Councillor Antle and Deputy Mayor Kiley, my sentiments exactly. I echo those sentiments. It's a very welcoming feeling here so far. And I really look forward to working with my new team, getting to know all the new people. And I've met a couple of people tonight that I never met before. So really nice to get to meet new people. And I'm really impressed with the team so far. I've had lots of conversations with the mayor and CAO, for, even before, and even with Mona before she left. But I'm really impressed, and I really got a positive feeling here. And I really look forward to a really good working relationship with all of you guys and girls, because it is really a big team approach here. And Mount Pearl is a place we live because we live here, because the reason why Mount Pearl is like it is because people like us. So I just want to say a big thank you to I guess the citizens and the taxpayers of Mount Pearl that entrusted in me to come here and represent them at council. It's really important for me, and I'm really happy that I'm here with this team. And I'd like to say also, Deputy Mayor Kiley, about the small business. I will be attending that session actually on October 21st from 3 to 6 p.m. I support small business big time. I've been a small business owner myself, and it's very difficult to get started up in small business. And with support of Mount Pearl and I guess the council and chambers and I guess the representative here at this table, we have to support small business in this town, in the city of Mount Pearl. It's really important to them, and it's really important to me as well. So hopefully everybody will come and support small business that week. Also, I'd like to say to Kevin, my kids had the privilege of going through the skating program, my 3 girls, Sydney, Victoria, Mackenzie, with Kevin. Awesome program from can skate right up through. And now they've, I guess he's been at this 40 years. It's such a milestone. And I'm so glad I couldn't make it the other night because I had another meeting, but I would have been there if I never had that other meeting. So anyway, congratulations to Kevin. Well deserved. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you.
Well said. Councillor Lane, please.
First of all, I just want to say thank you to the people of Mount Pearl for electing me. It's such an honor to be here. I couldn't have done this, of course, without my amazing volunteer team, and to my fellow counselors and staff here. I'm really looking forward to working with you going forward. So I have a couple of things. This past Saturday, the First United Church held a drive-through food bank in support of Bridges to Hope. I'd like to thank them for their ongoing support of those in need in our community. I was happy to attend the Fall Craft Fair at the Reed Center yesterday. So shout out to our staff for organizing it again this year. From October 5th to the 8th, O'Donnell High School, St. Peter's Primary, Newtown Elementary, St. Peter's Junior High. They all participated in a food drive in support of 3 local food banks. I'd like to thank the teachers, staff, students, and their families for all stepping up to the plate in support of this great community initiative. And I would like to congratulate MHA Pauline for recently bringing in 10 years as MHA. And congratulations to the following Mount Pearl athletes on being selected as recipients of the 2021 Premier's Athletic Awards. Shayla Divahat for athletics, Chase Tucker and Cole Tucker for baseball, Brooke Ladevahat for basketball, Terry Hefford for Baca, Caitlin Hocko and Cecilia Martino for rugby, Morgan Harris for soccer, Megan Holden for swimming, and Sarah Da for volleyball. So congratulations to them. And that's all for me.
Well said. Councillor Fry.
Thank you, Your Worship. I do have a few pages here. I'll try and make it quick. First of all, I want to offer congratulations to our new colleagues as well as our current colleagues, or old colleagues, I should say. But I also want to congratulate everybody that put their name forward, because it's not easy to run a campaign, and everybody did such a great job. And I want to, it's something that we should all be proud of, because there are a lot of municipalities who can't get enough people to run, and we had 12. So that speaks volumes for our city, and they're really great people that ran. And I want to just say thank you to everybody. And also thank you to all of the residents who supported me. Appreciate that. On September the 30th, it was National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And that's where we honor Indigenous victims, families, and communities. And City Hall was lit orange that night. And that was to spark reflection and conversation among family and friends and remembrance. So I was really pleased to see that. And then on October the 4th, myself and the mayor and the deputy mayor attended the Sisters in Spirit event at Cochrane Street United Church. And that's an event for missing and murdered Indigenous women, and also for women in general and gender diverse folks. But a couple of interesting facts that I took from there. When we went in, they had 12 red dresses hung around. And the significance of that, of course, red dresses is known for missing and murdered Indigenous women. But the reason why they had 12 is because Indigenous women are 12 times more likely to be murdered or missing. I mean, that is an extraordinary statistic. It's scary. There were also, of course, a lot of familiar faces there from local women who have been missing and murdered as well. And that was, to hear the impact from the family members speaking was really, really significant, and there was a study on gender-based violence in Newfoundland and Labrador, and rates are 20% higher than the rest of Canada. And they currently have a list of 148 names. The list for Newfoundland and Labrador has 148 names. And there was a tree afterwards where you could write a name of somebody who was missing or murdered. And, I sat down to write one and there were three. And I said, I know three women. That's a scary thought here in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's not something that we often think about, but, this was really significant. And then later on October the 8th, we met with Sylvia Murphy, who is known by her Mi'kmaq spiritual names, Grandmother Salmon. And that was to tie ribbons and felt squares onto the fence of St. David's. And we were joined by Councillor Locke's class, one of his classes. So it was lovely. And we were really pleased to participate in this important act to remember and honor the Indigenous children who lost their lives in residential schools. So I'm really proud of the efforts that our city has been making in that regard. On September the 29th, I attended the Seniors Newfoundland and Labrador Annual General Meeting. And the guest speaker there was Dr. Jane Barrett, who is a PhD, and she's the Secretary General of the International Federation on Aging. Sorry, my mom is calling. Some of the calls they receive are about things like daily living, resources to stay in their own homes, and housing, financial help. So this is an important service that these guys do. One of the interesting facts of this is that there's a 40% increase over calls from last year. 40%. 37% of people needing emergency food. Now this is seniors, like this breaks my heart. 14% needing medical assistance, 12% for prescriptions, 8% debt support. But 51 of those inquiries were about elder abuse that actually needed to be reported to the authorities. So that's 51 in 1 year. Like this is staggering. So thank you to the work that Seniors NL do for our population. Very, very important. Okay, also on October the 7th, our mayor participated in the ribbon cutting for pipers, and we're really happy to have them back to Mount Pearl. So it was great to see, and a lot of our councillors were there as well. So it was a good event. Welcome back to pipers.
They're excited.
There were a lot of people waiting to go in there. I know it had nothing to do with the first 100 gifts that, nothing, but it was awesome. Now, there's something that caught my attention is the Mount Pearl Paradise Chamber of Commerce. They've launched a new initiative and it's called Buy Here, Buy. Now, mainland friends won't quite get that, but Newfoundlanders will certainly appreciate the buy part. When you spend $1 at a local business, 68 cents of that goes back into the local economy. And that's compared to 14 cents when you shop at multinational corporations. So that's small business are the ones who generate the economy, the local economy. And also locally owned businesses contribute more to local charities and fundraisers than their national counterparts, funding local arts, culture, sporting, and recreation events and activities. So for further information on that, I highly recommend to check it out. It's buyhereby.com. So BUYHEREBY.com. And Keith Power is the spokesperson for this. So it's going to be good. A couple of quick congratulations. Congratulations to Jim O'Toole, who is the newly elected Vice President for Newfoundland and Labrador at the Atlantic Provinces Provincial Firefighters Association. I think most of us know Jim from being involved in different firefighting activities. I want to send out a huge happy 96th birthday to Joan O'Keefe at Hillcrest. And she's a longtime resident here in Mount Pearl, and we were really pleased to be there for her. October the 10th was World Mental Health Day. And you guys all know that I'm very involved in mental health, and I'm pleased to be part of the Mental Health task force, municipal mental health task force, but the theme for this one is mental health care for all. Let's make it a reality. And you know what? It is my hope that someday mental health care will be available for everybody who needs it, the same as physical health.
Mm.
Now, as we begin preparations for our budget 2022, we want to hear from our residents. So public consultation, engagement, and feedback is the key to making informed decisions that are reflective of the needs and aspirations of our communities. So I'd like to take this opportunity to encourage residents to go on the website heymountpearl.ca and provide their feedback, because that's how we can make better decisions when we know what it is that people want. And a reminder to residents, we also have a citizen reporting tool on our website. And that's where you can report an issue to the city, and we'll make sure that someone looks at it and reports back when it's been fixed. So these are for things like pothole damage to a park or playground, stray animals, etc. And the address for that is mpcitizenreporter.ca. Or of course, you could contact one of your city councilors, because there are 6 of us here now, plus the mayor. Sorry, Mayor.
No worries, no worries.
And you know what? We can only fix what we know. So when we all work together to keep our community, residents know what's happening in the neighborhoods.
Mm.
So when we all work together, we keep our community safe and active for everybody. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank
Well
you.
said. Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Locke, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Further to what Councillor Frog was just speaking about there with our residents. Some residents reach out regularly to me about, issues within the city, and then they apologize as if they're being, a nuisance. And I said, don't ever apologize.
No.
I mean, this is not council's community. This is our community. So as Councillor Fry just said, we can't be everywhere to see everything. So if you notice something awry, reach out. We don't take it as an offense. We take it as being helpful. And I know our staff are happy to oblige. Once we find out there's a concern, we act rapidly. So thank you for that. Your Worship, I too want to extend congratulations to all members of our team, the incumbents. I won't call us the old councillors, but the returning councillors. I prefer that. My students call me their old teacher sometimes, and I say, well, I'm really not that old. So the returning councillors, I'm just needing a Councillor Fry. And of course, our new team members. So it's great to have a full team back. And I got to say, it's a nice vibe around the table. It's nice to get to know you guys. And I know as we roll up our sleeves, I know you're all anxious and eager to get into it. So I'm delighted. I'm looking forward to a great term together to make better things happen in the city of Mount Pearl. And of course, to our new staff around the table as well. It's always nice. You guys are an integral part to our team here. You give us sound advice all the time. So any newcomers, I always tell them you're joining a great team. And we welcome all of you around the table. So again, looking forward to the next 4 years to be exciting and ever improving. I just wanted to build on what the Deputy Mayor was speaking about earlier with respect to Small Business Week. Just another component of that, and that has to do with foreign direct investment, our foreign direct investment project rollout, upgrade to Mount Pearl platform to complement our support for existing small businesses in our community. The city also plans to proactively attract businesses and investment beyond our province and beyond our country. The city is proud to launch Upgrade to Mount Pearl, a campaign designed to attract foreign-based companies and to be investment ready for any global inquiries for Mount Pearl. Campaign also supported through a microsite and with 6 industry-specific ebooks that contain detailed statistics, benefits, opportunities, and resources for each industry. The city has partnered, of course, with our province and the federal government and industry associations to identify these high growth sectors in our city. So we're focusing on ocean technology, oil and gas, innovation and technology, wholesale trade, transportation and warehousing, health and life sciences, and North American head office, back office, and call center. Details on the site and all the materials are going to be available next week at the start of Small Business Week. So I just wanted to highlight that to add to what our Deputy Mayor highlighted for Small Business Week. And also I do want to acknowledge, I know Councillor Fry touched on many of the points that I was going to speak to, but I do want to acknowledge the ribbon ceremony that we held on Friday. And it just coincided with the world religion class that I'm teaching at the high school. And we're doing Aboriginal spirituality. And and it's hard to measure the profound impact that that had on the students. It may seem like a small task where we gathered and we tied ribbons, but the conversations walking back to school, I mean, that had deep meaning for the children, you know. So I think it's important that that we do those sorts of things. And while it wasn't widely attended, I can say that the 15 students that came, more than 15 students knew about it when we came back to school today. So I heard them speaking in the corridors and in the classroom. So it was a significant event, and Grandmother Sam was very good with the children and or the students, I should say, young adults. And she's hoping to come in this week to further the conversation with some of our classes. So it was a very nice event. So kudos for the organizers. We walked down on Friday. You may remember that it was a little wet coming down. And then we got there and there was nobody around. So initially we thought, ooh, we missed it. But fortunately, all people showed up. So it was a very, very nice event. So thank you to the organizers. And that's it for me, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Locke. And I would like to, you know, in the spirit of what I've heard here tonight, I thank everybody for the great conversation. I see some orientation going on. I see lots of energy in the room. And I want to say congratulations to everybody. When the word team is used around this table, it's not just a brand name, it's literally the way we work. And I also want to just extend that out to all of the staff who are here in this room and as well with the City of Mount Pearl. It takes a lot of us working together constructively to make a lot of good things happen in this community. And we are a community, we're not a council. So that's the representation we have here at this table. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. Looking forward to working with you all. And I just also wanted to say part of the team that didn't include council in the last few weeks before the election was the team that ran the election. And I wanted to say to CAO Spurl, and I know a lot of your staff, and I won't start to name any names because there was a lot of staff, and they did such a great job. It was very tiring. And then to just make matters worse, we asked you to organize a swearing in 5 or 6 days, and you excelled, all of you, you excelled at that as well. So I'm looking forward to an election update report. I think we can task the CAO's office for that. Mail-in ballots was new for us, as it was with, I think it was 8 municipalities in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador who did mail-in ballots for the very first time. Perhaps electronic voting or balloting is in the offing. We need to work with the provincial government on that, but it'd be first and foremost in our minds to, while we can capture the moment while it's hot, is to get that update, you know, how the election went. But I can tell you as a candidate and also as mayor, I think it was done very professionally. There was very few hitches, never heard any complaints. The percentage of vote is very misleading. The voters list is the issue. There tends to be a lot of people on it that, as you can see, when you're going down through it, there's a lot of people that get on the list and don't seem to get off it. So I have concerns, you know, when we use the word 40% voted, frankly, I think it is higher than that, but I don't know how you'd go about parsing the, but I think that's one of the outcomes here is to get a more accurate election list and always come up with new and efficient ways of making sure people get their vote. And you talk about marketing, you know, we want to get people out to vote. We want to get more younger people out to vote. So anyway, I would just ask the CAO's office for that update in the next, shall I say 4 to 6 weeks while it's all top of mind. And, you know, the next thing that's looming, of course, is the budget. And that's really going to become, you know, a time sucker, so to speak, right, in terms of the amount of energy that we have. Director Antle, I'd like to suggest that once orientation is over, we talked about winter readiness, and I think we need to take council up to the depot, do a tour in line with our safety requirements as well as, you know, with COVID, but a lot of it could be outdoors. I'm hoping we can arrange that so that the new members of council can see the amazing team in Public Works, especially the mechanics who get everything ready this time of the year. And I was going to ask the question, you know, how many loaders are ready to go, but I'll defer that for the tour and also for the committee in the coming days. But I know the success of our snow clearing is based on our equipment, but more importantly, based on our people. Director Collins, I look forward to, I hear the focus groups on the new Civic Center have ended. I look forward to receiving a report from staff through the Community Development Committee consisting of Councillors Antle and Lane. So we'll look forward to that as one of the major projects that we're going to pursue going into the new year. And Manager Mullins, thank you very much for stepping in today for Director Pittman, who's off today. And we look forward to seeing you, of course, in our travels throughout City Hall. And to all of you, thank you very much for a great meeting. And I'm going to call now for a motion to adjourn, and that would be from Councillor Lane and Councillor Rice. And we are adjourned. Thank you.